The operations track is where we turn chaos into consistency. These sessions are all about building the systems, processes, and habits that help your business run smoother so that you can scale without burning out, deliver a 5-star experience every time, and lead a team that truly supports your vision.
Well, welcome everyone to our panel on effective systems, implementing and running and monitoring effective systems in your business. We've got 3 pros here today who are going to talk to us about the sort of lessons they've learned along the way with implementing systems. I'm sure you all have stories of systems that haven't gone well either. And so we want to hear sort of the good, the bad, the ugly, and all your sort of lessons along the way. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm Brandon Reed. I'm on the product marketing team here at House Call Pro. And let's just do some introductions. So Amy, let's start with you. So I'd love to hear where your business is located, what your role is in it, and how many employees you have.
Okay, sure. My name's Amy Boatwright, and I'm Vice President, co-owner of Nobility Door. We are an overhead door business, and we're located in southeastern Oklahoma. We have 3 locations in Ada, Kingston, and McAllister. And we have 21 employees at the moment, 9 trucks on the road. And we do commercial and residential work, so installs, service calls, everything. So House Call Pro has been really beneficial for us to get us organized and streamlined and implement those processes.
Cool. And how long have you been using House Call Pro?
August of 22.
Okay, great.
Love it. My name's Ian. I'm an electrical contractor out of Kansas City. I've got 7 employees, 5 vans on the road, and yeah. Excited to be here.
Excellent. And how long have you been using House Call Pro?
Yeah, I started House Call Pro in 2021.
Nice. Great.
Yeah, so my name is Steve Small. I am the owner of Docks of Denver Cleaning and Restoration. We serve the entire metro area, and we run about 7 trucks. I have 7 employees. What we do is residential and commercial, primarily carpet cleaning, but we also offer a handful of services. So we're doing upholstery. We have a fine area rug division that we do in our facility. We have an air duct cleaning service as well. So really just try to concentrate and execute on every textile in the home or the workspace.
Nice. And how long have you been with House Call Pro?
It's been a long time, to be honest. I would say 8-ish years or so. Like the second I saw it, it was an answer to prayer. So it was easy decision for us.
Why was it an answer to prayer?
Okay, well, because we were doing triplicate invoicing, so paper. Technicians don't always have wonderful penmanship. It was just tough. They'd spill coffee on it after the fact. They'd go missing. So when you're trying to take proper records and stuff's either there or not, or it's misplaced, or it's in a crevice of the truck, it was a nightmare. And honestly, just the software that even back then that they had, it was immediately a huge benefit for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's sort of a good segue to the topic of systems. But before we get into sort of specific examples, I'd love to hear how you all define a system and like, how do you know when you need one?
Okay, I guess I'll go first.
Whoever wants to go first.
Pick me, just kidding. So we knew that we needed a system because our baby boomer office manager was using a desktop calendar to book things out. And so we'd get in bed at night and my husband would say, what's tomorrow? And I'm like, I don't know. You're going to have to go up to the office and look at the calendar. So anyways, that was the big sell for us. But to answer your question, a system, I'm a big process-driven person. I believe in process. I think it's important. And so we needed process and we needed the pipeline and things of that nature and the schedule and the reporting. So we feel like system it's kind of our business Bible. Okay. So if you will, like it's what holds all of the important knowledge. Besides QuickBooks and my booking information, House Call Pro just is the holder of all the important information. So
Amy, do you consider House Call Pro the system, or
yes.
Is it the place where you like organize different systems that you have?
Okay, so House Call Pro is my software that allows us to have systems in place, if that makes sense. So we build systems around what it does. So we use the pipeline to like keep us organized by what's coming in on the delivery truck each week, what deposits have been requested, what lies with each person, and then like to build the schedule out and estimates and invoices and all that good stuff. Does that help? Did I answer the question?
That's great. Yeah, okay. Steve or Ian, what about you guys? Like, what is a system to you?
I'll jump in. I learned a great definition of systems a while back. It was like a who, what, when, where, why.
Okay.
And the good way to build a system is to start at the back end and figure out, why do I need this system or process? Where are we going to do it? What's it going to be doing? And who's going to be ultimately responsible for it? And so, initially that started with a phone script for me, training someone in the office to answer the phone the same way. Okay, how are we going to do this? We're going to, sympathize with the customer. We're going to collect information. We're going to, try and figure out a time on the calendar that works for everybody. We're going to summarize, and then we're going to wrap it all up with, we've got you taken care of, and we're going to get somebody out there. And that was our phone script system. And we try and do them all the same way with a little human element, a little bit of the personal touch. And then we do that for every other kind of process or role in the group. An electrician that goes to the door has a system or a process that they follow, and it's the same, right? They park on the street, not in the driveway, and they park in front of the house with the branded logo, and they walk up the driveway or the sidewalk, not across the grass, and they knock. They don't ring the doorbell. They step back, they give room, they say hello, they look for something nice. All these things, right? Really down to the smallest detail every time the same way, so that we can measure what's working and what's not. Because if everyone does it different, we have no idea what's working. So that's my take on it.
I loved your comment about the phone script, and like a system starts with why. Why a phone script?
Why is it important?
Yeah.
What is what you're doing going to do for the company? So why is a phone script important? Well, we want to make sure that every customer is getting the same experience. We want to make sure we're not missing any of the important information we need to collect. So we ask things in a specific order, but first we want the customer to be heard. So we always address the problem first. What's going on? Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Your power's out. I understand that can be really frustrating. The great news is we can help. Let me get some information, and we'll make sure that we can get somebody out there. What's your name, address, phone number, email? Okay, here's what I have available for you. I have this time or that time. What works better? Amazing. Well, we're going to send Joe out. He's an amazing guy. You're going to love Joe. He's a master electrician. He's going to get you taken care of. All right, Janie, we understand we're there to do this. Thanks so much. We'll be there at 2:00. You're going to receive a text message when they're on the way. We'll see you then. Bye. Whatever.
Yeah, nice. Steve, what would you add?
Yeah, so for me, a system is a standard. It's something that can be replicatable. It should be replicatable no matter, if that person that's working for you is a, 10-year vet or a newbie. System is a word that I've been using, gosh, I feel like way before it was super popular. So it's what I've loved doing for any company that I've been involved in, is to, like Ian said, go back to the basics and really start from there. And to me, what I do is I might create a system, and then I'll create a subset, and then I'll create a subset. So I'll start general, but then I'll kind of dial it in and get more specific and really just kind of iron out any of the kinks and wrinkles. But in a word, it's a standard for me, so that I can tell my staff, this is what we do, whether it's a phone script, meeting a customer for the first time, even dealing with vendors, people that maybe aren't necessarily clients. This is how we conduct ourselves. This is exactly what we do. And it's one of my other favorite words is experience. So we can have a replicatable experience. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter if Joe or Tim or Jane or whoever goes out, that person, they might vibe with somebody a little bit more just because, but they know they're going to get the same standard of technical excellence as well as customer care for each visit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I could imagine a pro like yourselves thinking like, oh, there are so many systems to build in my business. Like, we should have one here. how do you prioritize where to focus sort of your energies around, like, this is the first thing we need to focus on?
I think I call those pain points. Like, where are we bleeding? You know, where's the pain point? And then you can come up with a solution to that pain point to fix the problem. We've done that with like hashtags. You know, we use a job tag on every job to differentiate what service area the job was in, to differentiate if I've audited yet or not, because I'm going to audit every single job and every single estimate that's on our schedule. So it keeps us organized and everything, but we base those off of need or pain point.
Okay. I think this is a great question, because I very often find myself wondering, what's the next thing to work on? There's so many things to work on, and I'm always sitting there going, but what's the one that's really going to help?
Yeah.
So, you know, the long story for me is like, I don't know what that is necessarily. I think for me, the first few systems that were most important was the phone and the tech and the hiring and, you know, our market evaluation. But after that, I think it can be different for every business. And what I've recently been kind of taught and I'm trying to implement is having kind of a running list of different standard operating procedures or systems or processes or things that I want to work on, like a brain dump, and then categorizing them and then dating them like level of importance, like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? And then assigning who it's going to go to and trying to make it not all be me. But, and what it does is it kind of allows me to look at things, bounce it off of other people. And, you know, what's important to me today isn't necessarily important to me as much on Friday. So I run it by other people to try and be accountable in that way. And so I don't necessarily know what the next best system is for us. But I think it's, you know, working on getting better systems. I've made a few rounds of the perfect service call. I've made a few rounds of the phone script. I'm trying to get a really good inventory management system where we stock certain materials for vans. And then after our Tuesday meeting, the techs show up to the shop. They stock what's missing off of their van. The supplier comes and restocks the shelves, and we do it again next week so that it's really streamlined and efficient. And I know that's a very important one for me. That's the next step. And I haven't got it perfect yet. I have the idea. I don't know how to make it happen exactly. So that's kind of what my next one is.
Yeah. I guess kind of just to piggyback, that no matter what kind of company you are, to me, it is to stop the bleeding if there is some, for sure, right? So, but if you're a newer company trying to penetrate an industry, obviously it's going to be massively different than a company that's, 10, 15 years in, really just looking at scaling and growth. So it could be all over the place. I'd say for us right now, it's growth for sure. I feel like we've got culturally and just systematically just about everything in place. And now it's time to take that next step for growth, and specifically for a couple of niche services that we currently don't offer, but I've identified them as things that make sense for our business to offer for people. And so we need to get technically excellent at those and then start to move into the systems for kind of those new avenues. But yeah, like they were saying, it can change almost like on a drop of the hat. But yeah, for us right now, it's growth for sure.
There was like one cool story. I'll just spin on that real quick. I had a friend tell me to watch that movie, The Founder, about McDonald's and kind of the Speedy system. And he said, you want your business to be like an orchestrated thing, when they basically went out to that chalkboard and they practiced making burgers and found out where, like he said, you want your business to be like that, where you basically practice what's it going to look like from the customer's experience, from the phone call to the electrician, to going to the house, to collecting the money, to stocking, all of the parts, and then basically figure out what the best way to make all those things happen effortlessly. And I think that's the goal, is to ultimately just keep working on the steps of doing a job, collecting money, making a customer happy. And there's a million things you can do in between to like tweak little things, but ultimately you need to at least have the vision in the beginning. So.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot from the House Call Pro Facebook groups about, like, you know, we don't do the best job at collecting money up front or collecting while we're on site. Like, you know, they don't have to be home for us to come get the garage door rolling. And so, you know, I read a lot I'm in the Lady Pros group, I'm in the House Call Pro group, I'm in the Super Pro group. And it's funny because someone will bring up, lo and behold, the same exact thing that I'm wondering how to fix and what process or system I need to create around it. And so I'm constantly screenshotting it and like emailing it to my bookkeeper, like, what do you think about this? So anyway.
Yeah, does any, and it's okay if not, but any specific example come to mind?
Well, yes. So like we were just working on one the other day where let me think. We hold on. I have a screenshot on my phone.
You can look if you want.
Yeah, hold on. Oh, crud. No, I don't have it with me. It's in my purse. Hold on. What was it? Because yesterday I was like telling my bookkeeper before I left town, I'm like, we've got to get into this. Oh, I know. Okay. Late fees. So we have I don't know why in the service industry, people feel like they don't have to pay at the time of service, but they don't. And we are not good at implementing late fees, or, you know, maybe someone suggested offering a 3% discount if someone pays in full up front. So I commented on it and said, are you talking about new installs or even service calls? Because like in our industry, I don't know how much your total is going to be until the tech is there and he does the work, because I'm not exactly sure what your problem is up front. So anyway, so I just learned a lot of all the different people's opinions on offer the 3% discount up front if they pay in full. And then another person said, if they don't pay within 15 days, tack on 1.5%. And so anyway, it was a learning opportunity for me to figure out how everyone else is handling it, you know?
Yeah, and in that instance of late fees, do you feel like you have a vision for what a new system would be, or are you still sort of in the figuring it out phase?
I'm in the figuring it out phase, because I do not want it to be manual. You know, like I don't want to have to go through, because right now I think I have 72 people that have open invoices. And so that's a lot to calculate, you know, and be on top of and some of them are corporations. And so they're, you know, net 30 or net 60. So obviously it wouldn't apply to them, but all the residential service calls, that's my goal for 26, is I want to implement a process around late fees, because I feel like I'm chasing checks.
Automation is fantastic, and House Call and the different platforms that it integrates with has been tremendous, especially like for marketing. Reminders, especially, just like keeping top of mind with customers, specials, little check-ins, whatever. We've always previously been kind of averse to we don't want to annoy a customer. And so there's kind of, like you said, that happy medium of, you know, we want to get that information out. We want to make sure, you know, if you trust us for this, you'll trust us for that. So there are definitely areas that I mean, as far as the systems are concerned, unless it needs a human element, or there does need to be that kind of monitoring to make sure it's still working how you want it to be. I love the idea of automation. I wanted to just say real quick, I thought of something kind of as we were talking about the systems thing. I did this exercise with my staff at our last management meeting, and I told them I wanted them to write a system, whatever they thought was most important. It is fascinating what people come up with and what is important to them, what they think, you know, in relative. It's just interesting to get that other end of the spectrum to see what they feel like is important, what needs to be a standardized process, and then not only what that is, but, okay, go ahead and write that for me. And I got some pretty fascinating responses. So it also helps you kind of keep in tune with the entire company and make sure, like, you're not just one track, you know, just what I think is the best. It's always valuable to have that other perspective, and hopefully it helped them feel included. And, you know, I got a kick out of it, you know, honestly. So it was a good thing. Yeah.
Was there any aha moment in that for you of like, oh, I didn't realize this was a problem for my team?
In that particular exercise, I can't think of an aha moment, but what I think was fascinating to me, and it's something we talk about a lot, is just the very first perception. You have 10 to 15 seconds to present yourself in such a way that especially if it's a housewife that's home by herself and, she's meeting a stranger or two for the first time, put yourself in the best position to make sure that she trusts you as much as you can allow her to. And that just initial, experience is like we're talking about, is the van nicely parked on the street in front of, like in between their two cars in the driveway? Are you presentable, looking nice? Are you giving them space? It really can be a matter of them wondering what's going on or like giving you full reign of the home. And that's really what they spoke of a lot in those systems, is like that introductory process, which I thought was amazing.
I feel like I've heard you all talk about systems more related to like the customer experience or customer service, but then systems related to running the business, collecting late fees, payments. Are those sort of the right ways to think about systems from your view, or am I missing another bucket? Are those the wrong buckets? How do you think about like types of systems?
I'm continuously learning about what systems are and which ones are best for the company. So I think there's a system for every little branch. And there's a million standard operating procedures and processes and systems, right? They're all kind of related for me. And so like I have a process or a system in which, at the end of the month or the middle of the next month, we look at last month's profit and loss statement. We review our budget. We put in our actuals. We do our marketing spend analysis. And then we redecide halfway through that month how we're going to reallocate the money. And I expect those reports to be given to me at a certain day, right? And so that's kind of my cash flow predicting guess of the future system that I have, that I look at around the 15th or 16th of every month. And that gives me like a pretty decent gauge of what maybe the second half of this month and next month could look like. And if I'm on goal, if I'm not on goal, why am I not on goal? So I guess the next step is like, so if I find that, we're overspending on marketing, is it because the marketing channels aren't doing well, or are my electricians' close rates low? Let's look at the close rates. So then I look at the close rates, and if the close rates are below 60%, 65%, well, okay, we need to train on that. Why are they that low? Is there something going on? Is it seasonality? Are we presenting the same way? Let's review how we go to the door again, because that's the foundation. So what are we doing when we get there? Oh, what do you mean? She said, what does she want to think about? What is it we can help her think about? Do we give her all the information? So we can go on and on, right? And so for me, like those systems are like, I'm trying to find out if we're doing well. If we're not doing well, why aren't we doing well? And let's look at that. And how do we improve that? And each of those things has its own little microsystem, I guess it could be, right? Like tech training, KPI driven, money, marketing. And so for each of those, and then, that's just like field and money. And then there's office, like what's the office staff doing? What else could I be doing in the shop? What's my material there? How much money do I have sitting in my shop that the guys aren't going back for because it's 10 minutes out of the way and it's easier to go to Home Depot? And I'm just allowing it because I don't check the thing enough. And I'm just like, just get the job done. And they're like, but we got all that money in the shop. Yeah. So why don't I have a process for going to the shop once a week? Well, I'm gonna. Yeah. I'm building it.
Yeah. There definitely are, almost like an endless amount of branches when it comes to everything that you can kind of obsess on. And so I guess what my typical approach to it is for me personally, like I've been in the industry for 25 years. I've been on the truck many of those years. Thankfully, I'm not really so much anymore. But what my mindset is again, kind of thinking kind of from the opposite way is there an exit strategy here for me? And even if I'm not looking to sell, what puts it in the best shape for my kids to take it over? God forbid, like something happened to me, like my staff, my wife, whomever, to take it over. And if I can have these systems in place, these standards, these replicatable, processes in place, and this is what we do, this is how we approach it, on the half month, each month, we go and review last month, whatever that is. It's just a roadmap for somebody else. And if you do obsess and kind of go back in and audit those things and tweak or maybe make like little subsets, as long as the way I try to do it, as long as I'm not, as long as I'm putting it in plain terms, it should be something that's a relatively easy roadmap for somebody else to look at and be like, okay, not a big deal. I can do this. And so I guess the way that I look at it is the more I can do that in all of those different areas, whether it's related to admin, office stuff, accounts receivable, employee centric, discipline or acknowledgement and performance stuff, all of those different avenues. If I can kind of write a little script for each of those, if I'm not there for a day or for a week or forever, somebody can pick up right where I left off.
Yeah.
That's such gold right there. It's so true too, because that's the ultimate why for a system, so that someone else can, right? So ideally, like you want to kind of oversee everyone else doing the jobs, but you should actually have to be doing it all eventually as an owner. Of course, in the beginning we are,
Yes.
but those systems are, they're ultimately there to eliminate the need for you to ever teach someone something again. Yeah. You've created it. There it is. Look at the system. Let's go over it. Let's train on it. It's kind of amazing.
This is a great transition to sort of this next topic I want to hit on, which is getting people who aren't you to use the system. How do you all approach that in terms of like documenting it, sharing it, and then making sure it's actually being put to use?
That's what I was about to ask. Do you guys do it in Visio or PowerPoint? Do you do like a flow chart of if yes, go here, or if we're out of inventory of this, go here? Do y'all have it documented? Because I want to, but I don't.
Yeah, working on it. Same.
Yeah.
By no means a finished product.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That would be amazing for each thing. Yeah. Flowchart would be amazing for every single thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of at that point too. I haven't really gotten there. What I'm trying to geek out on is, having exactly that, like a documented process of exactly what to do for the role or the position. And then even having like little training videos on it. Mm-hmm. Just like literally, this is how we place a job ad. This is what we're looking for. This is what we take our candidates. They go here, we do a pre-call, and then just walk them through and when we ask questions, we ask these same questions every time. Mm-hmm. And depending on their score, we bring them over here and we do 1 day training in person in the field, whatever it is, 1 week. So how would I ever know if people are following that? I don't know. I guess you got to check up on it. We're going to need a system for that. Yeah, those phone calls are recorded.
So we can go back and listen. Yeah.
So ideally, like what I have with my hiring thing is I have a checklist.
Okay.
So that, because I've constantly been like, did you do this? Did you send the thing in for a drug test? So there's literally a dummy checklist. Did I send him in for a drug test? Yes, I did. Did I get his ID and put it in employee file? Yes, I did. Did we get a driving record thing from our insurance agent to say he's okay to drive? Yes, we did. Did we show him House Call Pro? Did we enroll him into QuickBooks? And once all those boxes are checked, I can look at it and go, you did a good job, buddy. But I'm sure there's other ways.
Yeah. So you're saying, Ian, sort of teaching your techs the systems is sort of part of that onboarding process for when you hire someone new?
Yeah, and ideally, so that's like a hiring thing. There's the office checklist. Did you onboard them with all of these documents? And then when we're training people to go in the field, we have kind of a 15-point list where it's like, have we witnessed them put in an outlet? Have we witnessed them hang a fixture? Did we witness them do this? And there's a score thing, 1 through 5, how they do on it. And then we let them score themselves, 1 through 5. And we try and see if we're aligned on it. Man, I hung that thing so good. And he's like, no, you did not. We got to revisit that. So those are 2 kind of scenarios. And then we do some role playing. Before we send them out, we say, hey, you're going to come watch me on this deal. Watch how I do it. Now I'm going to show you and watch you do it. And then we're going to let you go do it. And I'll be there to make sure. Mm-hmm. And we do that 2 or 3 times until we feel like someone's ready to take the wing on their own.
So this is all very helpful, because it's sort of like when someone new is coming into the company, how are they sort of getting oriented to everything? What about when you come up with a new system and you want to roll that out to existing employees? How do y'all think about that?
We do that, and we have like little management meetings, and like bi-weekly, sorry. And so we have, we have like layers and tiers now, and so really no one has more than 4 people underneath them, so that it's like manageable. And anyway, so when we meet, we go, it's like, hey, this is how we're going to handle this going forward, and this is why we're doing it this way, and this is how you're going to document that you did it. And so please train your people. And then, like I said, I unfortunately audit the daily schedule every day. And so I can see if they're not uploading the pictures of the stickers on the motors. I can like go, okay, Johnny, your techs aren't doing the new process. Can you please follow up on that? So it seems to go better that no one has more than 4 people, so that it's just the communication isn't as hard.
Yeah, I see.
Interesting.
I try to do that as little as possible, and I'm not sure if it's just a function of our industry or whatever, but I feel like it's constantly like we have to do this in addition to this other thing, like it's going to come with some kind of raise or something like that. I'm like, go into corporate America for one day. Everything changes every day, and you're automatically, it's this way from here on out, and you need to learn it, you need to practice it, you need to perfect it. So when I roll out something new, I try to really think like, am I happy with this? Because I don't want to modify it in a month and be like, oh, sorry, it's like we're going to actually do it like this. So I try to audit it myself and really make sure in practice and in theory that it's going to kind of come across as I am intending it to, and then try to think of it from a kind of a multifaceted way of like, how will it be received? Can I make it a little more simple? How can I put it in place so that it's understood, but also done? Because that is the thing. Like, we struggle with even just push the on my way button, push the start, push the stop. It is so helpful for us if you guys will just do this. It's just not something that they prioritize as much as I'd like them to. And with the handful of other functions that HCP has rolled out recently with the, maybe not so much recently, with the authorization for both pre and post job, but also that job scope notes at the very top. I'm like, use that every single job, document everything. The customer will see that. So if they call a couple days later and are like, this area didn't come out so great, okay, no problem, we'll stand behind it. But if we can go and see your notes on that job and what you did, it gives us a couple like little bullets in the chamber to be like, okay, like I see what he did and what he tried to do to help you out.
Yeah, my team's super used to me rolling out new stuff all the time. They're like crazy and came back from a convention with a new idea. And so, I mean, and that's the kind of the thing about mine is like we kind of have that culture where we're willing to learn new stuff and kind of implement new things. I try and include them and let them know, like, when we do things better, it's going to be better for you. You're going to make more money. It's going to be better for us. There's going to be less tension. And sometimes it's doing little painstaking details that they don't want to do. And depending on the personality, just hitting buttons is the biggest deal for some reason.
I think my last question is more around, I bet we still have some system skeptics out there, or like process skeptics. Like, what's ultimately the value of a system? Like, I don't have time to do this. What would your response to that be? Like, what's the value of a system, and what advice would you give to your fellow pros out there? Either like more at the beginning of like they're just getting going, or they're more established and sort of optimizing systems.
I think as you grow, you're trying to replicate yourself. We want everyone to act just like we would act. Act like you're the owner. Like present, be the face, be the image, get the 5-star review, care about it, like have some, ownership and pride in it. And so I feel like if we don't have processes or systems in place to where we can teach them and record exactly how we want them to portray our business, you're going to set yourself up to fail, So it's kind of vital, but nobody really has time, but it just has to happen to be successful, I feel like, because we can't, once you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you can't be at every home doing every service. So you're trusting it to in the hands of other people. So you want them to be trained efficiently.
Yeah, 100%. I think a big one for me is that you can't hold people accountable if they don't have a clear process in front of them. If I haven't come to you and said, this is exactly what we expect, then when they're not doing it, you can't be frustrated with them because you never really told them what to do or why to do it or who to answer to or when to do it. So if you don't have those things, it's impossible to have a standard. And without a standard, then you're basically leaving the company to be run by someone else's standard. You know, so it's, I don't know, it's kind of like if you don't have a plan, your plan is to fail, that kind of thing. Yeah. If we're not creating clear guidelines, then, you know, it's just going to be chaos.
Yeah.
Really, honestly, the only scenario that I can even remotely entertain would be like Vinny's auto repair shop, where Vinny is the only guy that sees every single car, that interacts with every single customer, and he's just got his mental Rolodex, and he never wants to touch a computer, all these things. Like, that's literally the only scenario that I can think of that it might make sense. For anybody else, like they were saying, like, if you're trying to replicate yourself, if you're trying to have another employee go out and do the level of work that you'd like to be done, to have that in place is key. To, you know, expect and really, insist on a certain standard to happen. If you've got literally, even if it's just like a husband-wife team, the accountability piece, it's massive. And it really does, even though it might be a little bit more work up front. And I know, like, there are times I sit down, I'm like, yeah, this is a lot to kind of get into and think about all of the different steps to accomplish this goal. But you just submerge yourself into that, get it knocked out, go back, make sure it's the way you want to be, the way you want it to be. You can pass that along, and then you're done, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Solid.
yeah.
This has been great. Amy, Ian, Steve, thanks for your time today. I know systems are not really, like, you're never at the perfect spot, but it's so helpful to hear sort of how you're continuing to build systems and iterate on them. So thanks for sharing your insights.
Amazing. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Super good.
If you want help building your own systems or want to see how the tools can support your workflows, jump into the breakout rooms. Our experts are ready to walk you through it.